And Steve Bunce and our boxing commentator Mike Costello are with me in the studio. They're looking fit, they're looking well, they're looking good as always, but I'm afraid that you're taking a back seat tonight because it's a very good evening to Joe Calzaghe. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's good to be here.
Oh, it's lovely to have you with us. So what have you been up to since we last saw you dancing with the lovely Christine?
Oh, that's a while ago. I thought you'd bring that one up.
Let's get it out of the way quickly.
Yeah, just keeping busy, acting at the moment. I've been, doing acting lessons for the last 10 months and joined an agency. I really enjoy it. I keep myself in shape. No boxing, just plenty of running and some exercises. And Buncey actually complimented me as I walked in and said I looked in shape, which thank you, Buncey.
Looks terrific, Nick.
Yeah, he does look in good nick as well.
And you were saying how for Strictly you really had to go through it and you lost 4 inches off your waist.
Yeah, that was mainly stress of the Saturday show. That was mainly getting judged by all them guys on the panel and completely outside my comfort zone. But yeah, to be honest, I know you train 5 hours a day learning something completely different, and I did lose a lot of weight, and it was good fun in its own way.
So has it felt strange not putting on the gloves, not going and going in the gym and sparring? And
do you know what? A lot of people, I surprised a lot of people because I actually feel blessed because, to leave a sport that you've been involved with for 26 years and actually not miss it is great. Because what it is, I made a conscious decision way before the Roy Jones fight. I think it was around the fight with Kessler. Millennium Stadium, 50,000 plus, to finally, after 10 years of hard work, and as you know how hard it's been for me at the time to get all these big fights, to get it all on one night, Christmas come early, beating Mikko Kessler, and the only thing was left was to go to the States and win the title light heavyweight, and I'd done both them things against Hopkins and then Jones.
I'll tell you what, Buncey, before you say anything else, I think we're going to go down memory lane a little bit.
I was about to say go down memory lane is what I was going to say.
Because I mean, if I say to you, Joe, do you fancy hearing some of the best bits of your career again?
I'd love to.
Okay. I'm glad you haven't said no.
Right hand jab. And good left hand from Calzaghe, and Eubank's down. He smiles at Calzaghe. It was a left hook, and Eubank is down in the first minute of this fight. Astonishing.
For the winner, who is now WBO Super-Middleweight Champion of the World, Joe Calzaghe.
He is a double world champion. He is the undisputed world #1 in the super-middleweight division. Kessler comes through, big right hand, virtually the last punch of the contest, but it's not enough.
2007 BBC Sports Personality of the Year is Joe Calzaghe.
And a right hand from Bernard Hopkins, and Calzaghe is down. Good 2-punch combination from Calzaghe. Right-left combination towards the end of this 6th round. Good punches by Calzaghe.
Linear light heavyweight champion of the world,
Joe Calzaghe, making his debut here at Madison Square Garden. He said it would be his retirement fight, and he is leaving the ring, as he has now done 46 times in a 15-year professional career, as the winner.
Joe is sitting here with the biggest smile on his face. I'll have to say that we've edited your career highlights down quite a bit. It could have gone on for an awful lot longer. But quick quiz question for you. Can you name the music that we were playing there?
Okay, let me think. Was that my jive?
I think it probably was your jive.
Rock around the clock or something.
It was Rock This Town by the Stray Cats.
Okay. Oh, great.
I probably shouldn't have done that, because that slightly ruined the tone, because that was the dance that got you
46 wins.
And that was my best dance. I know. Look at that. But, to listen to Michael Buffer as well, man. What a great.
Fantastic.
Yeah. But he's done it well, guys, hasn't he? To be able to walk away from a career like that and not look back. And, we've talked a lot, haven't we, on 5 Live Boxing about the boxers who find it hard to stop.
So many of them. And we ran an hour-long documentary in the middle of 2009 with some painful reminiscences of great fighters like Ken Buchanan and like Nigel Benn, who found it really difficult to walk away for all sorts of reasons. I think an important point for you, Joe, is that the 46-0... the figure, the statistic is really important for you, that to go back would greatly jeopardise that unbeaten record. Few leave at the right time, but even fewer leave at the right time with an unbeaten record.
Yeah, and that's the thing, it's one of my strengths is always training like a challenger and always being at my best and always never cutting any corners, but I had to be true to myself. I knew there was some big paydays out there, but I knew that I didn't want it anymore as much as I used to. I wasn't training as much, I wasn't going to the gym. I started to cut corners, and when you do that, your time's nearly up. So I had to be true to myself, and how great it was to be a champion, how hard it would be to walk away. I had to get out on my terms, which I think I did.
Actually, Andrew has just texted us from Barnet. He says, please get Joe to promise that he will never spoil his outstanding record by stepping back into the ring for short-term gain at some point in the future.
I promise.
You can see why people are tempted, though.
Yeah, of course, because you always got that big financial gain to fight, because that's never going to happen again in anything else that we do, and that was my life for 26 years. And, obviously, of course you miss it sometimes. You miss the focus of getting up in the morning and being dedicated to one thing. And obviously you miss the excitement and the adrenaline, and nothing else is like it in the world.
No, not now, Joe, but let's say in the first year you were retired, when you were still young, not that you're old now, but you were still young. Did you have any offers on the table? And in your head, did you have a figure? Did you say, if someone comes up with 10 million quid to fight, I don't know, John Pascal, I'll come out of retirement? Did you have a figure in your head that would have got you out of retirement and got you down to 12 stone-ish again?
You just mentioned 10 million quid. No, I'm not a heavyweight, and I'm not in the Floyd Mayweather,
you know what I mean.
a Manny Pacquiao.
Let's say a million then. A million.
Oh no, but 10 million, of course.
Yeah, of course. All right. So it was a figure.
100%. I come out of retirement at 50 years old for 10 million. Who cares about the undefeated record then, mate? I'm 10 million pound richer, mate. Come on.
Let's got rid of the run after 10 minutes.
You know what that is, Ellie? That's pure honesty.
Everybody got a prize.
That's what I love. Everybody's got a prize.
Absolutely. I've also got a couple of questions for you on Twitter, and you can tweet me at Ellie Oldroyd. Alistair says, name the opponent from any period in boxing history that you think would have beaten you.
Oh God.
Maybe it'd be an easy one for Bunsey to answer. Or Mike, what do you think?
It's an interesting thing.
Who could have beaten this man?
Well, let's jump between middleweights and light heavyweights. I'm not sure. Let's deal with Brits. I'm not sure would have beaten him, but I'd like to have seen Joe against John Conti.
Yeah.
I'd like to have seen that. And in history, I'd like to have seen Joe against Carlos Monzon, who's one of my favourite fighters, who was middleweight champion for it seemed like about 300 years. He was unbeatable, he was untouchable, and he was a great character. I'd love to have seen that, because he was big and tall and game, and also he was clever. And one thing that often gets overlooked with Joe, I'm not going to say it here, not going to get his head any bigger than it is that he was a lot cleverer than people ever gave him credit for. And that would have been I don't think that would have been a slugfest. That would have been a chess match.
And I think that's what would have made Joe against anybody fascinating, because if you look at, for me, one of the great performances, this is difficult with him sat next to us, but against Mikhail Kessler, most people, including the judges, if you work out how they scored it at the end of the fight, after 8 rounds had it pretty much level. And at that point, then Joe put clear distance between himself and Kessler in the next 3 rounds by basically changing his strategy. And to be able to do that in mid-fight, that's special. You can go in and have had weeks of training and mentoring from fellow fighters and from your trainer and have it all set in your mind beforehand. But when you need to adapt mid-fight, that's when you separate the very best from the rest.
And it wasn't just by charging at Kessler and putting him out of his stride. In fact, it was just by adjusting his feet slightly. And Kessler didn't know what happened. He thought they'd substituted an opponent. That's what he said after the fight. Do you remember Kessler? He was bemused. He could not work. What happened? I had that fight, and then I got smashed to bits in the last 7 rounds. He couldn't believe it.
And it was a great night too. I mean, you were saying there, Joe, about that might have been the night when you were convinced it was time to retire. But while you were in the dressing room, we were listening to like the male voice choir and the atmosphere as it built towards the fight, which I guess while you're in the dressing room you can be aware of, but you can't enjoy. Yeah, exactly. And all of that was part of the night as well as the fight, and those are the best nights that you remember.
They are the best. It's about time we gave him a bit of stick for the dancing again, because his head's been a bit... We'll have to take the roof off the studio and take him out by a crane.
Well, listen, we're getting so many questions for you, Joe, on the text and on Twitter as well. But let's use your punditry.
Okay.
For a bit.